So tibs is traditionally used to express high respect to someone else, and it's currently one of the staple dishes that is found in holidays and celebration in Ethiopian cooking. I'm Chef Eden Gebre Egziabher, born and raised in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, from Eritrean heritage. Today I'll be cooking Doro Tibs, which is chicken tips with misir and tikil gomen. To any type of Ethiopian Eritrean cooking, onion is our best friend. It goes in everything, and it's lots and lots and lots of it, especially like when there's a celebration that you have to cook a lot of onions. Growing up, like my memory was the neighborhood ladies gather up, one person or two or three are in charge of just peeling onions, and then the other group of ladies are in charge of chopping up the onions. Right here, I have boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Ethiopian and Eritrean culture is heavily influenced by the Christian culture, and because of that, they fast half of the year practicing Lent and abstaining from dairy and meat. But when you do actually break fast, everyone goes crazy for the meat dish. I'm gonna add half of my onion, just a small amount. I'm gonna use the other part of it into my cooking. I'm gonna also do ginger garlic paste, a small amount. I think this should be enough because we'll add more garlic when we're cooking it. We'll add salt, a little bit of olive oil, black pepper, ground cardamom, and lastly, I'm gonna add my berbere. So berbere is the gold currency of Ethiopia and Eritrea. It is the most important spice blend that we have. We make it in large batches and it's used for different types of dishes and cooking. This is mostly made out of chili, as well as anywhere from 8 to 12 different spices. Each household make their own and they take full pride and joy in it. We use it in almost everything. While we're letting the chicken marinate, I'm actually gonna make our kebbe, which we're gonna use to stir fry our chicken. Clarified butter is pretty much removing the water and the solid of the butter, and so what you're left with is the butter fat, which makes it great for sauteing. In this clarified butter, we're gonna start with turmeric, which adds that color that we're looking for. We're gonna do black cumin. This is called besobla, which is a sacred basil, dried. We have white cumin, we have fenugreek, we have kosaret, and the most important is the Ethiopian cardamom, which is also called false cardamom. I specifically use Ethiopian cardamom. The flavor is very concentrated, so you don't necessarily need a lot. Then we're gonna do our fenugreek. We wanna make sure we toast it just until it turns slightly brown, and black and white cumin. So this is all gonna go into spice grinder, and we're gonna go straight into melting the butter. We wanna make sure, it's very important that we don't put it on high heat. We want the butter to melt slowly, as well as the spices to simmer slowly. We're gonna steep all the spices and herbs in here, lower the heat, and we're gonna simmer it for a good 25 to 30 minutes. This is perfect. And I'm gonna strain it. You wanna make sure that the leafy herbs are completely strained and they don't go into the butter. And we'll put it in the fridge and we'll use it for our chicken tips. The cast iron is on high heat, so I'm gonna throw in my kebbe that I just made. Has solidified. It's beautiful, colorful, golden yellow color. That's what you want. I use cast iron because this type of cooking needs to be on very high heat. Tibs is a fairly quick dish, but we spend a lot of time building these flavors, preparing the butter, simmering it, using other spices, and so there's a lot of prep that goes behind it. And you're building the flavor one layer at a time, and so when it finally comes together, when you're actually cooking it, that might be fairly quick. That berbere and that chicken, they're actually meant for each other. So it smells very fragrant. I'm smelling the berbere. I'm smelling a little bit of the cardamom. It looks beautiful. All these ingredients that I have on the side, we're adding it towards the end so that as you're taking a bite of the chicken, you're also tasting the crunchiness of the onion and the scallion, and then the jalapeno is, you want it to be as intact to its original texture. Tibs is served with a dipping sauce, and the most traditional is the awaze sauce. We're gonna take this beautiful red cherry color of berbere, and I'm gonna do about 3 or 4 tablespoons of that. I'm gonna do a little bit of olive oil and salt to taste. And then I have a little bit of red wine. You want the consistency to be very thick. I'm gonna add more. Wine is typical in the sauce. It could be red wine, it could be white wine, it could be edge, which is the honey wine. Honey wine is something that's very traditional that we like, but we're gonna go with red wine for this one. It gives it a little bit of the acidity. Whenever tibs is served, usually served with a vegetable, 1 or 2, and so misir being one of the most staple, which is the lentil stew. And one thing I really love about like Ethiopian, Eritrean cooking is that because most of the time people do not eat meat for a majority of the year, they want to make sure that the vegetables are as flavorful. So they're not cutting corners and just steaming a whole bunch of vegetables and then serving it. So every single veggie dish has a lot of deep, flavorful component to it. There are different types of lentils, but the one that we have for today are the whole red lentils. We want to make sure that we wash them and there are no dirt, so we want to wash it until the water is completely clear. We have our Dutch oven. We're going to put it on medium-high, and we're not adding any oil. We're going to add the red onions and we're going to let it sweat, meaning we're going to let all that water evaporate. We're just going to leave the onion in here and it's gonna do its thing. This takes about 10 or so minutes. It's gonna get nice golden brown. It's gonna shrink in size, and that's gonna be the base of our Misir Wot. Right about now, we will add our ginger garlic paste as well as oil. The ginger and garlic, it looks really good. Just gonna add a little bit more oil. So I'm gonna add a small amount of tomato paste. The Ethiopians would say it's blasphemy because tomato is not native to our cooking. The Italians spend a little bit of time in Ethiopia, which Ethiopia takes pride and joy in saying that it's the country that has never been colonized. But one of the culinary contribution that the Italians kind of left is giving us the tomato. And so we have taken that tomato and made it our own. I like to add tomato paste. I've reduced the heat a little bit. I'm gonna add my berbere and I'm gonna add my spices. One thing you really wanna pay attention is that you don't burn the berbere. So you wanna make sure you're constantly mixing it and you're constantly adding water, because you will choke if you don't. I'm gonna add about 3 or 4 tablespoons. If I taste it right now, all you're tasting is heat. That's all you're tasting. It's almost unpleasant. But the beauty of berbere is as you're cooking it longer, you're pulling out the warmth of the spices. This dish, you want to be able to see the lentils. You're not stirring it too much because then it will become more like a porridge. You don't want it to decimate into the onion and all the spices that it has going on. You want to cook the lentil with the sauce, and you want to do it slowly because you want to make sure that all the flavor goes into the lentils. Anything that involves stewing, the secret is low and slow. Another side dish that we're gonna make is tikal gomen, which is cabbage and turmeric, ginger, garlic sauce. Even though when you think about like Ethiopian, Eritrean cooking, you might be familiar with like the spicy dishes. We also have a good amount of dishes that are not spicy, but that are very packed with flavor. And this is one of them. So it's usually, if you're eating something spicy, it's served with something that's not spicy. This particular dish, you can do cabbage with carrots. You can also add potatoes. So it could be cabbage, carrots, and potatoes, or even sometimes they might skip out the cabbage and then just go with the carrots and potato, just kind of up to your preference. We're gonna turn our pot into medium-high heat. Gonna add our veggie oil. You're not adding too much water into this. You're gonna be a little bit generous with the oil, especially when you're cooking the onion and the carrot together. When you're tasting the cabbage doesn't necessarily have a lot of flavor. We're gonna add our favorite, garlic and ginger. You want this dish to be garlic and ginger forward. The carrots take slightly longer to cook, so we're gonna throw that in first, and we're gonna cook it halfway. I'm gonna add in my turmeric. The turmeric is gonna help with that beautiful yellow color. We're gonna add in salt. It looks like it's ready. It's halfway cooked through, so we're gonna add in our cabbage. The texture that you wanna get is, of course, it's cooked down, but not completely soft. It needs to have a slight crunch to it. We're gonna let the cabbage wilt. We'll come back in about 5 or so to check in. The last step is to plate our chicken. This is a traditional shakla dish or shakla tips. That's perfect whenever you're cooking any type of tips. You're keeping it in this. We're gonna turn it upside down. I'm gonna put it in the stove for a few minutes, let it get completely hot. The clay will be able to hold it. When it's ready, we're ready to plate our chicken tips. I usually just kind of sprinkle a couple of droplets of water, and if it sizzles, then that means it's ready. So we're finally ready to plate our food. First things first, with all the stews and the tips that we've been making, everything has a base for us. Injera is a sourdough, spongy, flat bread, fairly similar to a sourdough. It's fermented. It is made out of teff, which is a grain, the smallest grain, and it grows in Ethiopia. We don't have rice, we have injera bread, and that's kind of like the foundation. We use our hands as a utensil, so I just broke it into 2 pieces. Usually the meat goes in the middle. I'm adding my tips. Here goes the nice turmeric cabbage, and we're just gonna plate it around. The one thing that I really, really love about our cuisine is the amount of options that you have. Cooking and eating is kind of like a meze. So I'm plating my lentils, the lentil stew, and we always have some sort of green. It's so perfect because the chicken tips is buttery, the lentil is spicy, this has turmeric and cabbage, and then this is just a perfect finish. And lastly, we have our awaze paste. You're gonna put a little bit of here and a little bit of there. The only rule that we have as you eat this food, most of the time you're eating it in communal, so the big no-no is that you do not lick your fingers, but that's about it. I'm gonna take a little bit of the injera. I'm gonna take a nice size. I think I'm gonna start with the chicken tips. There we go. I'm gonna dip into the awaze, and of course I want some lentils. And then I think I'm gonna do some cabbage. This is a nice bite size, and I've been working hard, so this is gonna be good. So good. I taste immediately the awaze, that berbere thick paste. I taste a little bit of the wine. The lentil is so good. It goes in so well, and I feel that heat, and the cabbage cools your tongue down. This is really good. You'll continue to eat this injera until it's completely done and go into a food coma.